Hi everyone, this is Dr. Seymour. In this narrated PowerPoint, we're going to talk about word walls and decoding through analogy. Multisyllable words are especially important as these words encompass most of the new vocabulary encountered by adolescents in their reading. These words also provide much of the new information in the content area text. So teaching word analysis strategies for decoding multisyllable words will help adolescent readers decode other unknown words, build a sight word vocabulary, and learn how to spell words. So in this lesson, we're going to discuss two strategies to help students learn how to decode multisyllable words that they don't recognize automatically. And like I said, these strategies are using word walls and decoding through analogy. First, we're going to talk about word walls to teach and reinforce the high-frequency words of your content area. And this is like sight words that they would be learning of content area words. So word walls are a best practice for building students' word recognition by providing them a constant visual reminder of the frequently encountered words in your content area or the current unit that you are studying. So for example, an earth science teacher might post on the wall an alphabetized list of the key words for a unit on phenomenon that alter the surface of the earth, such as like weathering, glaciation, crustal deformation, volcanoes, etc. Whereas a 7th grade English teacher whose class is reading the novel Scorpions by Walter Dean Myers, they might post the words innocence, appeal, and temptation, among many others. In all cases, your word wall should be organized alphabetically and in a font that's large enough for students to easily read from their seats. Students can have their own personal word walls as well, either on a single sheet of paper or as a collection of flashcards. And these personal word walls should contain words they struggle in recognizing. So the word wall is not something you should have filled out already for the unit's introductory lesson. Rather, you should build it together with your students over time, constantly adding words that students find challenging to identify with automaticity in the current area of their study. For the word wall to truly improve word recognition, you'll need to refer to it whenever you're doing a reading or a lesson in your class, and encourage your students to refer to it when incorporating those words into their writing. You can do a variety of activities with a word wall. For example, you can do riddles. You would say something like, I'm thinking of a word and it sits on top of your head. Find that word in our word wall. And of course, that's just a very simple example that you would use for younger students, but you can think of other ways of doing it with older students. Another thing you can do is dictation activities, bingo games that use the words from the word wall. Use your imagination. Students enjoy activities like that. All right, let's talk about onset, rhyme, or word families. Phonograms can be grouped into word families, and a phonogram is a letter or combination of letters that represent a sound. So for example, the CK is a phonogram that says K as in clock. S is a phonogram that says S as in sat, or Z as in has. OY is a phonogram that says oi as in boy. So a word family is made up of words that contain the same phonograms, such as win, tin, fin, and bin, or crop, stop, cop, hop, and mop. And these words are often referred to as onset rhymes. And the onset is the initial consonant pattern, such as bl as in black. And the rhyme is the vowel pattern ak as in black. So the teaching of rhyme patterns can be very useful for students with reading problems, but it's made somewhat easier given that there are 37 rhymes that make up 500 words. And when a student has consistent trouble breaking down multi-syllable words, you can consider working with them individually on various rhyme patterns. And you may show students these words containing similar rhyme patterns. So larger words might include chlorine, fluorine, bromine, and then asking them what is the same in each word. And then you might encourage them to brainstorm some other words that contain similar rhyme patterns. By doing this process, it should help students see words as not just one big overwhelming string of letters, which is the common perspective of students with weak word recognition, but hopefully they'll see it as a composite of several recognizable chunks. And the ultimate goal of this type of instruction is to help your students transfer their rhyme recognition to the analysis of other words that will help them manipulate and decode the word the way that it should be, rather than just phoneme by phoneme. Also, make sure that when you teach this, that you teach it explicitly and frequently, and you model the strategy use of rhymes, onset rhymes, and offer students many opportunities to learn and apply what they have learned by using the word wall, building words, reading new texts, playing games, and writing frequently. In addition to rhymes, teaching common syllables also helps students see the trees in the forest of a multi-syllable word that they will encounter in your content area class. Studies have shown that through systematic, focused instruction on common syllable patterns, students' ability to read longer words can be improved. Conveniently, there are charts of the most common syllables in the English language for you to consider when doing this type of targeted instruction with students. There are 6 different types of syllable patterns on this chart. As you can see on this slide, it uses a mnemonic to help students remember. The mnemonic's clover. The 6 syllable types are closed, open, vowel consonant, vowel pair, vowel R, and then the consonant LE. And that's where they come up with the clover mnemonic. Content area teachers can strengthen students' literacy skills by further developing these skills in learning the syllable types. And this will help their content area vocabulary instruction. Now we will talk about decoding through analogy. Look at the word on this slide. Can you pronounce it? If you came across the word in your reading, would you be able to read it and know what it means? Research indicates that most people, including students with reading problems, learn phonics not by necessarily memorizing rules, but by recognizing patterns used in similar and known words. So in other words, people pronounce new words by using known words. And this process is called decoding by analogy. So a child learns to read close and class, and thus learns how to pronounce the onset cl. The child learns day and say and how to pronounce the sound a. And these learnings lead to the pronunciation of a new word, clay. You use word elements that you know, such as ter as in term, the word giver, and sation as in conversation. And this helps you figure out what this word is. Using analogies capitalizes on what the student already knows. So for example, the word sit. And then it helps them to learn new words like bit, fit. And these are just very simple examples. But students are taught to use the word parts from the known words to make logical decisions about unfamiliar words. And research suggests an integrated strategies approach based on the use of spelling patterns to pronounce unfamiliar words. And there's some essential components to this strategy of teaching. It includes understanding rhyme, making sure that the students understand what rhyme is, that the words have the same ending sound. Also, learning to use keywords and their spelling patterns to decode words by analogy. Learning to cross-check to see if the word makes sense. And then learning to read and spell a core of high-frequency words. Now I want to go over some guidelines for analogizing and how you would teach it. First of all, teachers should choose words with frequently used spelling patterns from the literature that they are using in their classroom. So you don't have to go and pick out just words randomly. Use what the students are reading in your class and in your lessons. Then from a multisyllable word, match patterns in the new word to similar patterns in words that you know that they already know. Also, students must learn how to break the word into parts by looking for chunks that they already know. So have them look at the word, find the chunks or parts of the words that they know, and then try to help them figure out how to figure out the rest of the word. But knowing a little bit of a word helps them build a little confidence that they can read the rest of the word. Also select rhymes that consist of previously taught letter-sound correspondences or other letter combinations. Also select words that progress from simple onsets, then into blends, and then into multi-syllable words. And then lastly, provide opportunities for students to find similar patterns in words and then teach them to use words they know to read other words. The best way to teach students to analogize or chunk their words is to follow the same steps you would use to teach any other skill, which is introduce the chunking skill, model the skill, practice the skill with the students, and then have students practice the skill on their own. And that wraps it up for this narrated PowerPoint.